I'm Mona Maas. I live in Elkhart, Illinois. I'm a master naturalist and a retired person, and I fill a lot of my time with native plants.
And Kathy, give us a quick.
Hi, I'm Kathy Street from Darien Garden Club in the western suburbs of Chicago. And I'm a volunteer of all hats in our club and also garden natively at home. So that's my story.
Okay, and next is our person at 312-720-7245. Are you still on the call? And are you only able to listen?
Do I unmute me or am I unmuted?
Yes,
Now
you
you
are. Yes,
Oh,
you're
you're
on mute.
here now.
Yes.
Okay, the symbol says otherwise, but good. I'm unfortunately driving, but I'm Cass Thomas, and I'm here about Hinsdale Prairie, which is on Route 83, and it's an Illinois remnant, an Illinois Natural Areas Inventory property. Thank you for letting me be part of this meeting.
Yes, and we will have a few moments towards the end to talk about the email you sent us. So, Kath, I appreciate you popping into the meeting today. And then, Joni, can you give us the quick rundown?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm Joan Moody. I'm Joni to everybody. And I have a little pollinator garden in Lincoln. And I'm here to hear Mona's discussion today. And thank you for having me.
Thanks for
Thank
coming,
you.
Joni.
And just a big plug for Mona and Joni and Susan. They're doing a different presentation this Friday at the Wild Hair Cafe. It includes a meal and everything, but it might be sold out. But if you're interested in attending, let me know and I will try and pull some strings and get you in still. So, and I'll have Mona and Joni give a little quick preview of that Friday presentation when Mona's done with her presentation. So, for those of you who are regulars on our meetings, you did receive the minutes. This is just a committee, so we aren't really voting to approve them or anything, but as always with minutes, if you see something that got missed, just let us know. The important thing is we are doing recordings of our presentations at these quarterly minutes. So if you missed Eleanor's presentation from January from Project Wingspan, if you didn't get the agenda, just let me know via email and I can send you the link to that. But the link to her YouTube version of the presentation is in the agenda. Finances, and this is also mainly for the benefit of our couple of new people on the meeting today, Kath and Joni, and I am still hoping to get the new director of the Illinois Monarch Project to attend today. Hopefully she'll come on the meeting. But just a refresher, the Route 66 Monarch Flyway is not a standalone organization. It was kind of hatched, if you will, no pun intended, by the Illinois Monarch Project and the Byway a couple years back. And because we do get some grants, needs a cash flow, it is now an official committee of the Illinois Route 66 Scenic Byway. It has a separate monetary account And that is its status at this point. And to that end, from the agenda, you'll see that the account balance of the flyway right now is $1,544. That includes money from a grant that just came in, and if Susan is able to pop on, she'll talk about that. If not, I'll explain that grant. And then you'll see that it's 1544 plus one sign sale. We do have those. We give out flyway signs to pollinator gardens that we recognize as being legitimate pollinator gardens. That might be something very much that could help Cat, the Hinsdale Prairie project. But also people that don't have a garden and want to help, they can become a member of the flyway, or they can buy a commemorative sign with our logo on it. When those sign sales come in online, they have to be transferred from one account to the flyway account. So that's why if you have the agenda, you'll see that we have 1544 plus a sale from a sign that's yet to go to that account. So also on the agenda, I mentioned the plug for April 26th in Elkhart with Mona and Susan and Joni, which there is a link to that on the agenda. May be too late to sign up for it, but you can always contact them. They do sometimes are flexible. And I mentioned too, you can get Eleanor's presentation. So I am recording, and in the interest of keeping this moving along, it is now time for our feature presentation from Mona Maas, creator of Elkhart's Pollinator Habitat, and her local efforts to promote pollinator gardens in her community. And we will also hear just briefly at the end a tease from Joan about the presentation this Friday. So with that in mind, we already have Mona's PowerPoint up and running, and Mona, take it away.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm going to talk to you today about plant communities, but I really want to share with you about our human community and how they came together and still do for Elkhart. I had a young assistant on our own private property in Elkhart. Her name is Cassidy Clark. She needed a COVID project. So we planned, designed, and implemented the Elkhart Pollinator Habitat together. We developed our design using the right plant, right place mantra and some graph paper. Then we learned a simple computer software called Garden Planner and drew it out. We presented our idea to the Elkhart Village Board and they approved it. We laid out our design and applied for a grant with the Illinois Native Plant Society. My neighbor, Peggy Lee, who was teaching grant writing at the time, jumped on board, took over grant writing, and off we were. We started with Susan's cardboard method to kill turf and eliminate herbicide use. We gathered boxes and arranged for Elkhart's maintenance crew to bring us mulch from Lincoln. Our Larry Howard chuckled and suggested we just go to Lincoln, where there are not one but two different cardboard manufacturing plants. They were very good to us, and we switched to using large sheets of clean cardboard covered with mulch to eliminate the turf grass. This was all in place by mid-December, and while we waited for spring, things were happening behind the scenes. Cassidy and her teacher parents worked with Mount Pulaski High School's Mr. Allen's shop class all semester on this project to build a compost bin. They chose lumber that had been stored there from old bleachers, and they built our compost bin. They took the bin over to the grade school to be decorated there, along with some birdhouses. And to this day, when I'm working down at the Habitat, I'll have grandparents swing by and they want to show me their grandchild's handprints on the compost bin. So it's a lot of fun. In the early spring, we had the old crabapple trees there pruned by Central Illinois Tree Service. Zach Miner did the work. And once he heard what the Elkhart plan was, Zach Miner kindly donated his service. Here's Cassidy using our broad fork to plant native shrub seedlings that were donated from IDNR's Mason State Tree Nursery. We asked the village to help us access water for our young native plants. Elkhart's mayor, Lyle Fout, worked with Elkhart Grain. They allowed us to hook onto their water line, and the hydrant was installed. I used email and Facebook and the local Elkhart Echo monthly newsletter to try to generate interest and keep everyone informed about the plan throughout the winter and spring months. Folks really did seem interested, but they were just unsure about what was going on down there. When we got to planting time, we didn't have a great big planting day with all the community showing up because we didn't really have anyone yet that was volunteering. I had never met these two ladies. This is Linda Schilling and Jan Funk, but they just showed up and arrived to help me plant plugs. So we drilled and poked through the decomposing cardboard to place the plant plugs. But if you know Jan Funk, she takes no prisoners. She made it clear that I was not as organized as I thought. But we planted 500 plugs of more than 80 different species over the course of about 4 days. People noticed what was going on and they started to show up. My neighbors, my master naturalist friends came in to help. And by mid-May, we were in. So you would think that we were in the ground and this would be a good time to take a breath. But Susan had me sitting in online sessions over the COVID winter with the Illinois Monarch Project and Illinois Route 66. I met the butterfly lady, Rhonda Brady, there. We thought it was a good idea for me to hold my first ever event 3 weeks after the plugs were planted. We received a grant from Illinois Route 66 Monarch Project to help fund the event. She drove down from Galesburg, and needless to say, Susan, who has lots of experience with events, was quite concerned. The Elkhart businesses were all in for this event, and they really worked hard to make this happen. But the plants that had been in the ground for a few weeks were small. They were comically small. We had these photo cards developed so that people could see what the plants were going to look like someday. Nature did not cooperate. It was 96 degrees in the shade. One of our local businesses, the Country Bumpkin, showed a butterfly DVD repeatedly in their air conditioning to let folks recharge. We did a lot of things right. I did a few things wrong, but my master naturalist friends and the Elkhart community showed up to save the event. We had a lot of help. We were sweaty, but we all lived through it, and the plants grew. By late summer of the first year, we were looking good. A lot of things were going right. We had purple coneflower, rose milkweed, cardinal flower, New Jersey tea, all kinds of milkweeds, rose, purple, showy, green. And all that was thanks to Susan, who grows milkweed. Next year, I had different plants coming in, always kind of changing things out. I try to follow the right plant, right place mantra, but sometimes things just don't go the way I think they will. On the left here is my obedient plant. It likes moisture and sun, and it is oh so happy in our beautiful soil at the habitat. It is colonizing a cross space where I don't really want it. It's too much of a good thing. And we do a whole dig and divide, and sometimes I just have to pull it out. Plugs went in for an amazing stand of cardinal flower. I chose a moist setting in full sun. But unfortunately, that's not at all what it's like on the banks of the stream. It's hot and sunny. So we had one great season of multiple flowering plants. And the next year we had one plant, and that was it. So my point is, plan on edits, as we're going to be encouraging people in our presentation in Elkhart to incorporate native plants into their own landscaping. We're just going to assure them that it is fun to experiment. Things go wrong, just go from there. We have a lot of success stories. By plan, the habitat is 80% native and 20% non-native. Sometimes people wonder why. Why do you have non-native plants here? Well, I got lamb's ear years ago from a local gentleman, Bill Anderson, here in Elkhart. I have it in my yard. I've farmed it out to a lot of other yards. He's gone from us now, but I remember him with these plants. He was a very nice man. Blanket flower, are they native? Are they naturalized? Or just not from this region? I guess it's all of the above, but I don't care. We were given these and hostas, tons of canna bulbs, sunflowers. They all look great in the habitat. They're not invasive. These plants form a community, and so do the humans. Our activities to engage the community grow as our plantings are completed. We received grant dollars from the Woods Foundation to purchase a display board. Some money from Wild Ones organization funded a plant and seed giveaway. So we developed a seed class at the Elkhart Library, and we had a native plant giveaway. The community was starting to show up. We held a plastic cap recycle campaign across the winter, gathered thousands of plastic caps, and repurposed them we have to go back. We have to see this, into our fun and beautiful mosaic. And that's my daughter, who was home for a bit in the summer, and she has now done the plastic cap mosaic in her 5th grade class in Colorado. So it just goes on. Did I mention that the plants keep growing? Court and Karen Kahn, their Elkhart Community Works nonprofit, and the Elkhart Village Board worked together for Elkhart to get us a new, beautiful digital sign. We got real tired of changing that message board manually, and this digital sign is just amazing. I continued to maintain the habitat with Cassidy the first 2 years. Then she grew up and I got older. She went away to college, and I really started to think about what happens next to maintain the habitat. I started fundraisers with a goal to hire young people, like under age 16, who could help with summer maintenance. And the repurposed bag project was born. We collected feed and seed bags from the community, and many friends, old and new, showed up to help us cut, sew, and buy bags. This keeps the polypropylene bags out of the landfill. They're not recyclable and they do not decompose. And it's a really fun way to teach. The Elkhart, and that's our mayor. He bought a couple. This is his version of a smile. It's the best he can do. The Elkhart Needs and Goals, the NAGs, have helped me on all my different ideas. They allowed me to take donations for bags at their big plant sale. The village agreed to match our first dollars in 2023, and we did it. These were our habitat helpers in 2023, the first year of paid help. Cassidy's gone off to college, but even she showed up a bit last summer. We were visited by high school volunteers, many who helped build that compost bin. They came last spring and they're coming back again this year. I always try to keep them learning, but also having fun too. And that brings us to the barricade. The barricade, it keeps grain trucks moving to the grain elevator from hitting the nearby utility pole. We decorated it in our first year, and you've got to laugh. The barricade got hit in the first couple days. I guess in harvest time, not everyone knows how to drive a grain truck. In 2023, we did a redo, and the young helpers did this great floral paint job. The maintenance crew for Elkhart built a wooden frame, and that wooden frame was destroyed in the first week. But we keep trying. As I finish my Elkhart story, I need to say how much friends and family help, even if they don't care about native plants as much as I do. This is my husband, Vern, and if he looks unhappy, it's only because he is. The Elkhart Historical Society keeps us in their calendar, and it's really a hoot. And my neighbor, Tina Gleason, secured this fun metal butterfly, and a talented local fellow refurbished and installed it. So you can see we just depend on so many people. So we've come a long way. I'm very grateful and excited to start 2024. Thank you.